make us extra special in more ways than one. At the age of 11, when most kids are busy playing with toy ships, he was invited to TED Ed Talk in New York to talk about his invention, Ervis the Ship, which is designed to clean oceans with an aim to solve the plastic waste crisis problem. He has spoken on multiple other things to raise awareness on the danger of plastic pollution. He has established an NGO, the Ervis Foundation, wherein he's working with the youth to bring a generational change in the way they interact with plastic. He is 15 years old and is currently studying in grade 10th in the Hotchkiss School, US of A. Please welcome Haaziq Kazi.
Thank you, Siddharth, for the lovely introduction. I am really excited to be here. What do Sachin Tendulkar, Nadia Comaneci, Mark Zuckerberg, and Mozart have in common? They debuted in their fields when they were teenagers. Imagine somebody telling them that they were too young to start. Sachin Tendulkar was just 16 years age. Mark Zuckerberg was 19 years when he co-founded Facebook. Nadia Comaneci was 14 years when she did a perfect 10 in gymnastics at the Olympics. And Mozart was just 8 when he wrote his first composition. So when a 5 trillion piece problem killing a million birds and 100,000 marine creatures annually caught my attention, you will have to excuse me for not waiting to grow up to have a go at it. There are things which cannot wait for time, and sometimes you just have to do it in the moment. Age is just a number. We in our society in general are brought up to be conformist, and many times it might not be such a great idea. Occasionally, you want to challenge the status quo to bring in a change, and that calls for an unconventional approach. Tackling a problem, speaking out for the marginalized and vulnerable part of society, protecting our planet, and making an impact. You cannot just wait for somebody else to do it. If you believe that you can do it yourself, then you must go ahead with it. Let me tell you a story, my story, the story of a child wanting to tackle the plastic waste menace. The plastic on the ocean surface, when stacked up, is enough to go to the moon and back twice. I wasn't thinking of going to the moon. Instead, I was playing football one day, and on coming home, my mom told me to wash my hands before eating. Sounds like another day in the life of a child, right? Except on that fateful day, 5 or 6 years back, it turned out to be my eureka moment. It made me embark on a journey of self discovery and one of purpose. Let me rewind a bit. I was watching a National Geographic documentary on the plastic waste crisis. It was at that moment which opened my eyes on the horrifying impact that plastic has on marine life. I was shocked watching birds and sea creatures die from consuming plastic, a painful death which is caused by hunger as the plastic fills up the stomach and they're not able to eat anything else. This had a huge impact on me. Coming back to the day when I was washing my hands, I saw the water going down the drain, and an idea came into my mind, and I smiled. I immediately collected some toys and took them to the bathtub, filled it with water, and opened the nozzle, and I could see that a whirlpool was being created. I then rushed to my room and drew a rough model, a circular ship with saucers attached, a very futuristic design, much like the USS Enterprise from Star Trek. I zoomed around the house, scrambled, and collected things like an inflatable tube, straws, cardboard, and some scissors. And with that arts and crafts, voila! Ervis version 1 was born. This was just the first draft. The propellers weren't automated, and when doing a test, it only lasted a full 7 seconds in water before coming apart. But there it was, my Ervis, my vision of changing the oceans. I introduced Ervis at my local TED club as an intelligent ship to clean the oceans. The TED club was a place for me and my classmates to work on a solution that was close to our hearts. I nearly forgot about my project until a year later, when out of the blue, I got an email from the TED Ed team in New York who wanted me to present my idea of Ervis on a big stage. I was pinching myself, unable to believe that I was selected to be one of 10 participants from the 10,000 plus videos the TED Ed team had reviewed. But the euphoria had turned into panic. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I stumble or froze? Was just some of the questions that I was asking myself. But for the next 90 days, I kept my focus and added just um, an hour of work a day to my schedule. I talked to scientists, environmentalists, designers, and public speakers. I focused a lot on how I could make my ship more realistic and convey my idea to the audience. The odds, as you can imagine, were heavily stacked against me. How does an 11-year-old go about solving a problem which none of the 7 billion people in the world have been able to properly solve? The closest somebody had come was the Ocean Cleanup Project, which took more than 8 years of work and $25 million dollars, and have just recently launched their first prototype. I then read something which strongly resonated with me. Chris Anderson had said that this idea exists and will always remain a part of me, and nobody can take that away. When I engaged with my audience and talked to them, I wanted the Ervis to become a part of them, not just when they were sitting there, but long after they have left. And it would inspire them to bring about a change in their daily lives, even if it would mean refusing that one straw. That would be the success of Ervis to me. After many hours of effort, gulping down countless hot chocolates, remember, an 11-year-old kid can't really have coffee, more than 30 revisions, and interviewing countless people. I spoke at TED Ed for just 11 minutes. At the end of what seemed to be an eternity, I saw the audience rise in unison and clap. Clapped for this 11-year-old passionate boy who wanted to bring about a change. Today, I am balancing my studies with my work advocating for clean oceans. I know making the ship is a bit of a moonshot project, and I am quite some way from seeing my Ervis actually going into the oceans and cleaning the plastic waste. But I have set my sights on creating awareness. I have created a foundation and aligned it with United Nations SDG 14 goals. We have created a curriculum and worked with schools across India and Dubai to educate more than 1,500 children. We have also launched a zero waste marketplace on Amazon to promote zero waste consumption products without plastic. I have also been fortunate to be called at the United Nations Youth Council in New York and many other international forums to speak about the plastic waste crisis and being appointed as the regional focal point for Asia Pacific constituency to advocate policy making for the United Nations Environmental Program with government bodies. I have read a prediction that by 2050, we will have more plastic in the oceans than fish. My efforts have been directed to make that prediction wrong. I continue plowing and working. And now, when I look back at the day when one routine act in the day of a 10-year-old influenced him to dream about a change in the world, the key learning for me has been that it all starts with belief that you can drive the change and then approach people. You will be surprised as to how many people are actually there and want to help you, but only when you reach them. Planning is key. Action without planning can often lead to failure. So plan and chalk out long term and short term goals to work on them. Of course, creating a team who complements you and working with them to fulfill your goal is one of the cornerstones of success. I had another important aspect that I wanted to cover, which is the difference between academics and education. One is you study to earn grades, while the other is that you learn. While the first you can do in school or college or university, the latter you can do anywhere, anytime, and any age. Allow me to explain. First, you do schooling and then university, and then you stop your academics. While learning is continuous, you study a language, you learn how to use it to talk to people, conduct yourself in life, work with a team, lead a team. And sometimes academics doesn't necessarily teach all of this. Learning, I believe, is a lifelong process. Anything that you want to pursue in your life, you have to be a learner first. And that is exactly how I want to bring in a balance. I do not see learning as separate as my passion. I believe that learning at school or at work ultimately contributes to me achieving my goals. Discipline and self-belief plays a very important role in balancing education and following passion. Additionally, constantly persevering to make your goals a reality is necessary. If you truly love what you are doing and are determined to bring a change in the world, then you will end up finding a way to balance all aspects of your life and stay on track. Apart from education and my passion, I also ensure that I pursue all of my extra hobbies, such as piano or chess, all of which contribute greatly to my mind space and helps me better focus at working towards the cause. Discipline and practice, foundational tools for anyone who wants to achieve anything in life. You need to keep on doing the same thing again and again. Practice. And you know that one day you will be perfect. I'll give you an interesting insight. On my first TED Talk, I made more than 50 revisions and 3 months. I worked 1 hour every day without fail to practice and research my speech. What people saw at the end was just 11 minutes, a child going on to speaking confidently. But what they did not see is the hard work, the determination, the perseverance, and practice that went into delivering that talk. Of course, it's not easy, but staying consistent and reminding yourself every day why we are doing this and what we are doing will automatically push you to be more disciplined and dedicating you to achieving what you want. For anyone who's working with a goal to bring a change in this world, it is not possible alone. We need the right supporting system to cheerlead us throughout the journey. And I have been incredibly fortunate to have my parents, my school, and my work team to be there throughout every step of the way. This is important for several reasons. Firstly, they help you make the right decisions and also strengthen your belief in yourself, not just by motivating you, but also critiquing you when necessary. When tackling a crisis as huge as the plastic pollution problem, you need many minds to come together for developing solutions. And this is only possible when you have a strong team and environment around you. And finally, my school was like a runaway for my dreams to take off. My school allowed my thinking and inquisitive mind to thrive, as fortunately they have a culture of promoting free thinking and leadership. There, I learned to practically find answers to problems. I was fortunate enough to gain the right opportunities, platforms, and learnings that have greatly shaped me as a person today. So, it is very, very important to recognize your supporters and take them with you in your journey throughout every step of the way. So, the next time you want to do something which you think will have a positive impact, do not think how the world will think about you, or how old you are, or why somebody else hasn't had a go, what obstacles there are. You want to start, and the journey will follow. And maybe you might be the person making the next big impact in the world. Remember the people whose journey started as a youth like you, who refused to be bogged down by conventionality and rose to defy it. Take a look around carefully, and you might remember this day when you were part of a group of change makers who went on to make a difference. A big thank you to Extramarks for inviting me to this absolutely brilliant initiative. Being a student myself, I can't emphasize enough how important platforms like Extramarks Weekender are to give us students motivation to go for the best, whether it's in our studies or extracurriculars. More power to Extramarks. Thank you.